timeline, scheduling, and milestone. Okay, thank you very much, each and every one of you. Let's get into this. Scheduling and maintaining that schedule is an integral part of Six Sigma projects. How many of you feel it is very important? Type VI in the chat box. And that's a new topic for today, scheduling the Six Sigma projects. Now, importance of scheduling. We all know the importance of scheduling, okay? Because once you schedule it, it will help the leaders understand the project duration and expected results. It will also ensure that you efficiently allocate the team resources and prevent the projects from dragging on indefinitely. How many of you can relate to this? Type ICR in the chat box. Some projects keep on dragging indefinitely. Anthony Raj. Okay. Now you can create a timeline for the projects. Okay. All right. Thank you. You can create a timeline. There are some methods for that. Okay. There are some project management tools to outline the task deadlines. We will see that, and you can set clear milestone to track progress and maintain momentum. Okay. The benefits is it facilitates planning for ongoing improvements, provides clarity, and prevents employee frustration. Okay. So scheduling Six Sigma projects is very, very important. Okay. Now a DMAC method and project timeline in Six Sigma is something that we will see. DMAC, we all know that define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Okay. Estimating timeline. How do you estimate the timeline? Start with overall requirement or the deadline. Okay. How much time this project should take? That's very simple. Generally, for example, 4 months means 14-week type of a timeline, let's say. Define 3 weeks, measure 5 weeks, right? Improve and control remaining weeks. Totally 16-week type. Okay. Now, benefits of this is you can, once you have the deadline and start writing down this, you can quickly generate a timeline. You can put it in what is called as a Gantt chart, GANTT. So one warning, it is not a disadvantage, but generally inexperienced estimation may be inaccurate and leadership might see it as a fixed timeline. Generally, there will always be some here and there. It just gives you the overall timeline for the project. It's not written on the rock. You must be flexible to adopt based on how it is going. Okay, and communicate that this is a rough estimate and subject to change. Okay, how many of you agree with this? We should communicate that it's a rough estimate with all our expertise. Suppose if we say that I'll build a house in 6 months, it is a rough estimate. Okay, it can go to plus or minus 1 month, right? Or even sometimes 2 months, right? Okay, but then we should always start with an end in mind. That's important. That's the whole idea. We should start with an end in mind. Okay, that's a quick recap through question answer session. Okay. Which Six Sigma method breaks projects into phases? Define, measure. DMAC methodology, PDCA methodology, SIPOC, and CAPA. Such an easy question, right? But if you are not aware about anything, you will not answer this question. There are people answer wrong for this question also. These are very preliminary questions. Okay, good. Okay, DMAC methodology. Second, what is a common issue? What is a common issue when creating a raw timeline for a Six Sigma project? What is a common issue? Overlapping phases or underestimating the time required for each phase? Exact timing of each phase, or using highly detailed timeline. What is a common issue? Okay, this is just a subjective question, but still I wanted to debate. Which choose the most appropriate one. Choose the most. Wow, everybody, whoever has answered B, underestimating the time requirement, is perfectly right, because by experience you all know. How many of you can relate to this actually? Yeah, underestimate the timeline, right? Okay, fine, fantastic. All right, now next question is, how does the measure phase interact with the define and analyze phases in Six Sigma project timeline. It occurs after both phases are completed. It overlaps with both phases. It precedes both phases. It is independent of both the phases. Okay, this is easy, but you just have to answer after understanding the question. Excellent. Okay, now whatever maximum people have typed is the right answer. You can see 80, maybe 70% of the people are typing what? That's the right answer. Okay, B is the right answer. So all of you type B in the chat box. Okay. You can stand corrected. There's nothing right or wrong. Now, a very important methodology called as critical path method is something that we will see. Okay. Critical path. Okay. Now, this critical path, there are a lot of things that you have to do in this critical before finding out the critical path. You need to be very clear, define about what all activities are there. You should also know which activity is dependent on what, a predecessor activity, a successor activity. You have to estimate the time. You need to set some milestones like define, measure, analyze, improve, control. These are also milestones, and then tell completion. Okay. So detailed timeline definition is important. Timing is important. And this is used in define phase. And you need to create what is called as a critical path diagram. You can have a lot of examples for that. Okay. So detailed timeline definition, if you see, it requires more information and input from the project team. Okay. From the project team, they have to give all these activities and all that, time that it will take and all that. Okay. And detailed timeline often developed once the project is underway. And critical path diagram can be a key activity in the define phase. Please write in your notebook, this critical path can be a key activity in the define phase. So you can create a diagram. I'll just quickly show you. Example, if you see define phase for the project to reduce bad debt in a medical billing environment. You can relate to any other example in your own areas. Okay, in your own areas. Okay, critical path method is, first you need to identify the critical needs. You have to choose the team, charter, define the problem, create basic metric. Okay, and then step 2 is order these activities. Then assign the tasks, time to the task, like choose the team 1 week, project charter 1. Okay, baseline metric 2 weeks. Okay, so once you have listed out the activities and put the timelines, then you can sequence task from left to right and draw this thing. I've written 1 day, you can put 1 month or whatever time it is, and then you can calculate the total time 1 week plus 1 week plus 2 weeks. This is just simple illustration that I have done. Okay, actually the project will be very complex. I didn't want to put a complex diagram here. I put a very simple diagram. If this is clear on a scale of 1 to 10, please give me a 9 or 10 if it is very clear. These are some 6 simple steps. Okay, this is not very complicated. Right. Okay. Now how many of you are ready for the quiz time? Type ready in the chat box if you are ready for the quiz time on the critical path. Just 3 quizzes, that's all. Good. Okay, only 3 quizzes. After that, so the first question is, which is the first step in completing the define phase of the project? Okay, creating a basic baseline metric, or defining a problem, or choosing a team, or creating a charter the project. Which is, let's see your answers. All right. First step in the define phase is choosing the team. Okay, defining the problem is defining the problem I think is a more appropriate answer. Okay, defining the problem I feel is more appropriate answer. Just a moment. Let me correct the answer straight away here. I feel defining the problem is more appropriate answer. Just a moment. And with your permission, I'm changing the answer here. Okay. Share, and let me share this with you. Okay. Defining the problem, I agree. I agree with many of you. Okay, all of you defining the. How many of you agree that defining the problem is very important first? Yeah, first the problem should be clear. Then we'll choose the team for that problem. Correct? All right. So, which task can be performed simultaneously in the during the define phase? Choose a team and create a project. Simultaneously, something can be done. Okay. Define the problem and charter of the project. Create a baseline metric and define the problem. Charter project and create baseline metric. This is little. I'm just using my own experience and creating these questions. I hope that's okay. Define the problem and start chartering the project. Okay. Okay. What does the critical path method involve in the context of this project? Creating a baseline metric for before defining the problem, completing task in random order, identifying and adding up longest time of the sequence, and stacking tasks with shortest durations first. Yeah, this is an easier one, right? Identifying and this.